Oh, hello, everybody. BurlyNathan here. Welcome to the very first episode of the BurlyNathan Show. I am your host and MC, as I would normally say on stage. My name is BurlyNathan. I am over here in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, and I appreciate you all just tuning in and listening to my very first episode of my show. I think in the first bit of this, I should probably explain who I am, what I'm going to talk about on this show, and why you at home should be listening to it, why you should give an absolute shit about anything that I have to say. I'm BurlyNathan. I am a theater performer, burlesque producer, musician, actor. I'm going to use that loosely. And I've been doing theater for about 20 years now. Ugh, I'm vomiting in my mouth a little bit saying that. I've been doing theater for a very long time. I actually used to work in the podcast field years ago, and I'll get into that in future episodes, I'm sure, as I talk to people that have probably joined me on some of those old podcasts I used to do. But this show, I wanted to create it as a way to bring awareness to all different types of art forms, talk to different people in the business, talk to my friends, folks that are heavily involved in the things that I do, and then people maybe that I've never met before. So every episode will have a brand new guest, somebody that I've either worked with or have wanted to work with or just has a great view on life. We're going to talk about theater things, music things, funny pop culture moments. We'll talk about lifestyles and how people live their lives, because everybody has different lives and different ways that they live them. And I'm very intrigued by people with differing lifestyles. And I just love to get down to the nitty gritty of the people around me and the people that I want to be friends with. So that's what this show is going to be, a fun, lighthearted take on life, talking about the arts, really showcasing people in the arts and why it's important to support. As somebody who's been an art supporter for a very long time, I think it's absolutely necessary that we do so. So welcome to the very first episode of the BurlyNathan Show. If you're interested in being a guest, or you just want to follow me or follow the upcoming episodes, you can find me on Instagram at BurlyNathan. That's B-U-R-L-Y Nathan, N-A-T-H-A-N. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Craigslist, Backpage, all the different places. No. Find me there so you can see what's going on in the life of this podcast and upcoming events and shows. And if you just want to chat and say hi, I'm happy to talk. I actually just made my Instagram public today because I knew that with this podcast there might be some random people that might want to follow and not want to click the button and I have to approve them. I don't want to do that. So anyway, everything is public now. You can see all upcoming shows and different episodes of this show that will be happening. So to kick off this show, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, doing this podcast, just to promote my own brand, but also to promote others. And when I was trying to figure out the kind of structure that I wanted for this show, I had to think about the kinds of people that I wanted to include in this journey with me. And as I'm sitting down, coming up with my guest list, I'm like, all right, I need to find somebody who can kick this off with me, that knows who I am, that I've been friends with for a while, have worked with in many capacities. And without even thinking, I thought of this person that you're about to hear. You have no choice but to hear this person for the next 45 minutes. That was a great way to introduce you, I'm sure. So me and my first guest on this show have been doing theater together for a double-digit amount of years now. And I'm like, okay, I got to bring her on. Hey, Jessica, what's up?
Oh, hey, buddy.
When I was putting this together, I'm like, Jessica has to be the first person because of our history together and the fact that we're doing a lot of things together now that are pushing our performance careers further and further. And why wouldn't this be the way we do it?
I cannot tell you how honored I was when you texted me. I was like, me? Who wants to hear this bitch talk? So apparently a lot of people, though.
When I posted that you were going to do it, so many people were like, yes, great choice. I'm like, okay, that is affirming to me that you have a crowd. So let me give you an introduction of my own, and then you can talk about yourself. So Jessica and I have been doing theater together for about 13, 14 years now. And the very first community theater production that I did here in the Tampa Bay area was a show called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, based on the Steve Martin, Michael Caine movie from back in the late 80s, early 90s. And there's a musical version of it, and I was brought in to be a part of the show, and Jessica was one of the leads in the show, and we got close very quickly. Yeah, we had no choice but to.
You grabbed my boobs the first time we met.
The first time we met, I had to grab your boobs. It was in the script, I promise.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm going to honk your horn
I'm going to go wah wah on you. And this is before you were married, before you had children. So, it was a long time ago, and my little, I'm not going to say how old I was, but I was in my teens. Yikes. But my elder teens, I wasn't 14 or anything, grabbing somebody's tits. What a great way to start. Oh, and by the way, I do need to mention on this show there will be adult language. Should have
started that a while ago.
We should have started that. I might edit it in. I don't know. But this show is meant for 18 and up because there will be cursing. There will be talk of I don't know, personal nature. I'm sure boobs.
So many boobs.
Talking about burlesque and the adult business. We're very queer positive. We're very sex positive. We're very just positive in general. Of
rays of sunshine.
Rains of fucking sunshine. So we might be cursing. We might do any of that. So if you're trying to listen to this at church, first of all, pay attention to the sermon. Pay attention. But anyway, so back to our origin story. So Jessica and I did shows together. And over the years, you know, we did on and off productions. We've done Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Guys and Dolls, bunch of great productions. Chess, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later.
Oh, man.
Because we had great experience with that. But recently, and I say recently over the last 5-6 years now, Jessica joined us to be a part of the burlesque show band that I put together with my good pal Maven Misbehavin', and Jessica
Nathan
got into
and the Milk Sweats.
Nathan and the Milk Sweats.
We were lovingly originally titled,
which I never agreed to. But
this is what my glass says.
Yes,
this
and I'll have to put
glass.
I'll have to take a photo of you holding that.
Yes,
and so people can see afterwards.
I'm very sad it didn't stick.
But Jessica joined us to be a part of the burlesque show band and became a staple with that group. And after COVID ended and I started producing more shows on my own, I had this idea to do this classic burlesque show at a local venue here in Tampa Bay. And I was looking for somebody to host it because I didn't want to because I'd be sitting behind the piano the whole time. And I said, you know what? We're going to let Jessica do this because she's hilarious and can hold the attention of a crowd. And because we'd done theater for, at that point, 10 years, I'm like, I know this person can talk, and I know you're loud and brassy and fun.
Brassy, sassy, not too classy.
And had never actually worked in burlesque before.
No.
We have pretended to when we've done, like, burlesque-style musicals and stuff, but you had never been in that business before.
Nope. I'd been behind a mic singing for lovely ladies, but
at least you were exposed and you had seen how other burlesque producers and hosts do it. So you were a bit familiar, but at that time, I was actually fine that you were new because I wanted you to have your own voice and your own way of hosting. So when we came up with this night of classic burlesque show that we do, we had to come up with a stage persona.
Yes. Yes. And I threw many, many names at you.
You did.
I wish, let me check my phone. I don't think I still have the notes app with all the names I had. I wish I did. But you said no to almost every single one of them.
I'm sorry, I'm a bitch.
You said, child, please, what are you doing? But we settled on good old POPPIE Bubbles.
Good old POPPIE Bubbles.
I feel like it really represents, who I am. I am just one big poppin' bubble.
And for somebody who's an MC,
messy and
like, that's such a great name.
I've really leaned into it. It really has grown on me, and I could not think of a different alter ego.
And it goes to show, because the show is pretty decently popular in our area, and it's known by a lot of folks as one of the shows to do.
Well,
and
I think we've sold out every
one we've ever done.
Single one.
Except for one, but we had a 600-seat room to fill.
And what did we sell? Like 450?
Oh, yeah. It was very, very close.
Yeah.
And so, we thought, okay, this show's doing well. You need to get into it more. And so you've emceed other shows for other producers.
Only one, actually.
Oh, that's right. And only one.
Yes.
And I'm trying. So, hey there, burlesque producers out there that are looking for an MC. I am not somebody who recommends folks very easily. I only will recommend people. And when people work with us, we require that they have done shows with us for at least a couple of years before I'll put them on a stage. Like, I want to know that they have that experience. So if I'm going to recommend you, any burlesque producers anywhere, contact POPPIE Bubbles. Find POPPIE Bubbles on Instagram and have this bitch host your show. Because, like, there's a way to MC shows. And I think, you've learned your way to do it that the audience loves, especially for this style, because the way that we do shows is very theatrical.
Yes.
And we do it with, like, a musical theater spin, and you sing in every production. We've written songs for you to sing in those productions. So, like, you were my first choice for this, and it's been a lot of fun. So I need to ask, because we'll talk about your theater background a bit, because people who don't know you are going to learn a whole hell of a lot. I know a lot, so I'm going to ask you questions.
Buckle up, babies.
I'm going to ask you questions that I probably could write your bio for you, and I'm going to ask you questions like, so how'd you get started? But I'm
well,
gonna,
my friend Nathan.
yeah, my friend
said-
me. So like when you are about to MC a show, right, and you're about to jump out there, what's like the first thing that comes to your mind before you hear that introduction that you're about to come out?
So I will say it's changed. The first shows we did, the July Burly. Oh, hey, girl, hey. Good old T coming in with her espresso martini.
We have an observer that just joined us in the studio. You'll hear from her down the line. Anyway.
But yeah, so the first couple shows that we did, the first one especially, I was terrified. I have
remember.
not felt nerves like that in I can't tell you how long. And I don't know if it was you or if it was, but someone said to me, that's good, because if you're not nervous, that means you don't care. And that actually made me really rethink my my musical theater, my community theater attitude, because I was like, I'm never nervous, and maybe this is not something I super care about anymore. But so the first couple shows we did, I was terrified. I just wanted to go out there, and I will never forget the very first show that I hosted, which was our very first inaugural night of classic burlesque in July of 2022.
Yep. 22.
Yep. And I was up singing. We had picked what is the name of that song?
Life of the Party?
No, we had picked from Young Frankenstein. Please don't touch
Please
my
don't
tits.
touch me. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
Please
That's
don't touch
before
me.
we wrote the actual opening song
yes.
for you to sing.
Yeah, so because we rewrote it to be kind of the rules, and I'm standing up there singing, and these two guys walked in, and we were already about 5 to 10 minutes into the show, and I'm in the middle of a lyric. Dream all you want, my darlings. Hi, welcome to the show. We started 10 minutes ago. Thank you for coming. And the audience lost it, and that was the first moment where I was like, ooh, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe this is something that I'm good at.
Yeah.
Because you both always, and Maven, Miss Behaven, was actually one of the first people to be like, you need to get this bitch behind a microphone.
Yep.
And I was like, why? No one wants to hear from me. And then I was like, oh, maybe I am funny.
Yeah, and like when that moment happened, because I was playing for you
Yes.
at the piano, I was laughing my ass off.
And you kept with me. You were like.
And that reminds me of like the typical vaudevillian days of burlesque, the shows that just went off the rails, but you find a way to bring it back and you keep the audience's attention. At that point, when you did that, the audience went, "Oh, she's a real person. You're not just a robot up there that's reading from a script that if one thing happens that's out of the ordinary, you're going to lose your mind."
Right.
Something happens out of the ordinary at every single one of our shows.
Easily.
Like if you were a comedian, and we're going to have comedians on the show as well, and I can't wait to hear about like audience interactions there. But like the way that you handle yourself on stage, hecklers don't really happen. Because one, they don't want to fuck with you because they know that you'll end them, and two, why would they want to heckle you because you have their attention?
Right.
A lot of the time when I see heckling, I've seen heckling during world famous comedians, but it's when people are bored or maybe they just didn't know what they were in for. We make it real clear from the very beginning of the show what they're in for. So we haven't had really any issues with people acting up. But when you can like take a problem, it wasn't really a problem, those guys showing up, but we have video of it and it's hilarious. They were
It's
just
my
having
favorite
like,
clip.
But you said something that wasn't going to like offend them. It was just a joke playing at, and I'm sure they were in the palm of your hand from that moment on for the rest of the night.
It is a fine line that I feel like I might have tipped a toe over sometimes, where you don't want to alienate the audience.
Right.
You don't want to make them mad at you. And I feel like I do remember one show, I think it was the third one, at intermission, you came to me and you were like, "You're kind of being a bitch. You need to ease up a little bit." And then I've got Taryn on the other arm going, be a bitch. And I'm like, okay, find the happy medium.
Because
yeah.
the one thing, and I'm not saying that you did this, but like I've seen other hosts either in burlesque or in stand-up comedy or even live music, where if the show isn't going their way, they immediately call the audience out on it. It's the audience's fault. So when I see that happening, or when I see a host getting aggressive with the audience for no reason, and I've seen that recently, I'm like, there's probably a better way that you could handle this. And so, like, if I ever deal with hecklers, I try to just kill them with kindness. Because when I MC shows, I'm like, I'll just be nice to them, and they'll feel bad about heckling me. In most cases, I haven't had to deal with many. I've dealt with like audience members talking profusely. There was a show I hosted in Sarasota last year where the front row, the VIPs in the front row, were talking through the entire show. And I'm like, why would you spend $70 a ticket to just sit here and talk? Like, do that at home, not here. On the ride, go back.
Right, yeah.
But like when you host shows, it's very fun because you interact with the band, you interact with the performers, you interact with me and our audience. And the way that our shows are set up, you have like a runway where you can walk up and down and talk to people. So watching you do that is great. And over these last, how many have we done? 6? Like 5, 6?
This will be our 6th one in April.
Yeah. It's been a growth. It's been an arc, and people notice it. And I hear, because I know you've only done our show, but I've heard people talk about you in Orlando. I've heard people talk about you in South. So like, it's sending waves, and it's exciting to see. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because we're going to have a lot of people on this show down the line that are burlesque professionals, people that have been doing it for 15, 20 years even. And for you to just jump right in, having only observed it from being in the band for so long, it's just really cool to see.
Well, I will say, I think, and this is what I've noticed seeing burlesque shows or performing in burlesque shows, if you're having fun, I can't look away.
Right.
Like, to name drop Karma, Carnelian, the first time they were ever in one of our shows, they were just so joyful. Mm-hmm. And I think they were pretty green, weren't they, when they did our first show?
Yeah, I think so. Like, well, they've been working in performing arts for a long time, but I think it might have been, I don't want to say their first burlesque show, but like really getting into it, at least in this area specifically.
But they're so joyful. And that's how I feel when I'm on stage. I think I'm just having so much fun. It's impossible for the audience not to have fun with me.
And that reminds me like of a trope that we hear from audience members in theater when we go shake hands with them again. Like,
you looked like you were having so much fun.
Yeah. And when they say that, like, I mean, that's actually a good compliment.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would use that if I didn't love the performance. But like, you looked like you were having the best
Your
time.
wigs looked amazing.
The sets were delightful.
It does. I feel like it has become almost a insult instead of a compliment. But I think maybe that's where the burlesque world and the theater world differ so much is, you know, you're bearing literally and figuratively a lot more of yourself when you're doing burlesque.
Right.
And people just want to know that you're up there having fun, that you want to be there, that you love it. And if you're having fun, they're going to have fun with you.
Correct. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into some of your experiences with burlesque. But what I want to do, and I'm going to do this with all my guests going forward, is I'm just going to ask you some rapid-fire questions.
Oh, shit.
About you and your life.
Okie doke.
I'm making these up on the spot. I do not have any of them planned.
Awesome.
But I almost know all of these answers already, so I'm going to pick the ones that I think
Are you going to call me out if I lie?
Yes. No. And one thing I will say about this show, too, if you haven't already noticed, that it's more of a laid-back sort of atmosphere. I'm not going to edit anything.
Oh,
unless like
diggity dang.
Somebody like dead names somebody or says something racist.
I'm gonna fart on the mic. Then what'll you
keep
do?
It. I will get sponsors. There'll be like a flatulent sponsors. Like that girl sounded sick. You should help other people.
Help. She needs help.
Does she have a GI issue? So I'm gonna ask you just some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And if it's a question that's out of line for me, just
you know me.
I know you.
I am very picky
sheltered.
and yes, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what is your favorite color?
Red. That's not at all my favorite color.
It
was just the first word that came to my mind. My favorite color, honestly, if we're gonna do the Pop-Tarts answer, have you seen that TikTok where he's like, "Oh, you wanna not a bullshit answer?" That TikTok, never mind.
Nope.
Okay, I'm an old lady. Anyways, someone out there, it's a very viral TikTok. Someone out there is going to go, I know what you're talking about, Pappy. Is like a sage green, like a earthy sage green.
Okay. What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Are you lying? Because you lied the last time.
No, I didn't lie. I just got nervous and said the first word that came to my head.
Performance anxiety.
I was like, this is like when my therapist and I do like those like brain things. No. Okay. Go ahead.
So Christmas?
Christmas, really. Genuinely Christmas.
Why?
I just love the whole build-up. I think especially because I have kids.
Yes.
Too, that I'm experiencing it through my kids' eyes and like just everything, you know, going to see Santa and shopping for the gifts. And my husband and I have all sorts of traditions where we watch Love Actually while we wrap presents on Christmas Eve. And I love it. It's the best. It's the most magical time of year.
Great. All right. So you just alluded to something. How many children do you have?
4.
4. Okay. In order of... and we have known you through every pregnancy.
Yeah. You've
one
known
of
me
them is
since
mine.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yes, it's weird.
One of
your
twins.
I have twins, and one of them is Nathan's. Yeah.
Which we're still trying to figure
post a
out.
Picture of that of
We will.
her watermelon picture.
Absolutely. Okay, so now speaking of in order of favorite to least favorite. No, I'm kidding. All right.
That depends on the day. My kids ask me that. They say, "Who's your favorite?" And I say, "It depends on the day. It's whoever's behaving that day."
Okay, so I guess you could say if you were on if you're on a desert island, who gets eaten first?
Wesley, because he's just a dummy. God bless him. He would be like, "What is this thing with big teeth? I'm gonna go play with it." Yeah. Meanwhile, Matilda would just be holed up with a book somewhere.
Okay.
She's kind of my favorite right now, but she's 12. So, like, we went and saw Mean Girls together, and she's, like, turning into a little teenager. Okay. So, for now, we'll see what happens when those hormones
gotcha. And I think I probably could figure out the other two's order.
Yeah, that shifts a lot. Yeah.
I think it's literally oldest to youngest at this point.
Yeah. It does depend on the day, though. It depends on who's behaving that day.
Okay, sounds good. What's your favorite animal?
A dog.
A dog.
Mm-hmm. I do love dogs. Although my cat's pretty awesome, but cats in general are not my favorite.
That's
is that
a safe answer, though.
Is that too basic, too?
Okay, what's your favorite exotic animal? 3-headed dog.
Yeah. Cerberus. My favorite exotic animal does like a like.
It's got to be real.
I was just gonna say, are fire geckos real? Is that a real
fire gecko? You know
what?
Sounds like
young adult fiction.
Okay.
A cheetah.
A cheetah.
I don't know,
okay.
man.
Perfect. I know. I'm just throwing these at you. If you could travel tomorrow to anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ooh, Ireland.
Ireland. Okay.
Ireland. I am Irish.
For any particular reason, or just because you want to?
Because I'm Irish, and also if you gave me my dream life right now, it would be a tiny cottage on a shitload of rolling hills overlooking the sea with a bunch of sheep.
Delightful.
Drop me there and leave me alone. I want a bunch of sheep.
Absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
I would do that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What was your favorite subject growing up in school?
Literature. English, writing, literature.
Okay.
I'm definitely like the English social studies brain. I hate math and science.
Yeah.
I hate it. Weird. She's in performing arts.
Okay. So what was what's your favorite book then?
Okay. So this is a tough one. My favorite book of all time is Ender's Game.
Okay.
It's a science fiction novel by Orson Scott Card. Do not watch the movie. The movie's bullshit.
Typically is.
I love that book, but I have started a goal this year to read at least 52 books.
A year?
Yeah, that's one a week.
I haven't read one book in 10 years.
Let's see how many books I've read. I have my list.
Read?
I do. I read like a book in a day. I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and almost finished with my 13th book.
This year?
Yeah.
It's the 31st of January.
Yeah, I neglect my children a lot.
I mean, okay.
I love
That's
reading.
That's actually legitimately something I didn't know about you.
Really? Oh, I did it. You
found the thing. That's why we do these rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Taryn knew. All right, so
she's on the polos every day. She's like, "What's that bitch reading today?"
What's that bitch reading today? Okay, what was the very first role in a musical you had?
I played. What's her name? She's in Annie.
Duffy.
No, Molly. In Annie.
Molly.
She had to go bathroom. That was my one big line.
That was your big line?
And then, are you ready for this? This sounds like a brag, and it absolutely is. I was Iago. I went to like a very arts-heavy private elementary school that ended up closing. It's not around anymore, but it was called Cottingham and then became Highland Park. But we did a lot of theater, and I played Iago in Aladdin.
Wow.
And yeah, can you see it? Weird. And
they're like, who's got the most shrill voice
literally,
in 3rd grade?
They're like, I was in 1st grade. I played Iago, and a parent actually gave me their child's flowers.
Oh man.
Sucks for that kid, whoever they were, but
Oof.
it was a star. I should have won the Tony or whatever the Clearwater, Florida equivalent is for elementary schools.
They just I don't know.
The Larrys weren't a thing then.
The Larrys weren't a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is now on the theater realm, because we're going to start digging a bit deeper in there. What's
right.
your favorite theater role you've actually played in your adult life?
In my adult life? Ooh, good question. Probably Eponine. I got to go with the basic Eponine and Les Mis.
Okay.
But I will say playing Audrey was always a dream too in Little Shop. And then getting to do it with you as my music director.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
Getting to give you notes, that was fun.
Yes. But of course, chess.
Oh, chess.
I just would love to do it again.
So
I would love to do it again.
I would love it as well. Even if we did like a concert version of the show.
It should just be a concert version. There's no reason that show should ever be like an actual script. The book is awful, but the music is so good.
It's going back to Broadway next season, and I think Ramin is playing Anatoly. I think. Don't quote me, Broadway people who are going to call me out on that. I think it is.
Well, he played Anatoly when they did it. Where did they just do it?
Jessica
Japan?
Vosk did. No, they did it. Well, they did it at a Paper Mill Playhouse, I think. I don't know. I'm probably speaking out my ass. I think I saw it there.
Well, they did a version. I want to say it was like in Japan, and the chick from the musical version or the movie version of Les Mis was in it. What's her name? She played Eponine.
Samantha Barks.
Yeah, she was. It was her and Ramin, I believe.
She's playing Elsa in Frozen right now in the West End. Okay, so we did the show called Chess. It's an old musical from like the 80s, 90s, written by the same guys in ABBA. That's the musical where One Night in Bangkok came from.
Yep.
And yours truly got to do that song every night. It was wild, and we both auditioned for the show. I had to play one of the roles. It was a super high tenor role, but it was very outside of my normal wheelhouse when it comes to acting, because I had to be a dick.
Are we being super honest on this?
Oh, yeah, we can be.
I did not audition for that show.
Oh, that's right, you didn't.
I only got it because Taryn turned it down.
Oh, that's right. And Taryn didn't audition either.
That's how I get all the best roles. Taryn doesn't want to do them.
Yeah, Taryn has turned down more roles that you've accepted.
Yeah. I did not... Little Shop was like the first time I had auditioned in years because I'm offer only at this point.
Offer only. Just like tonight.
Offer only for my unpaid community theater gigs.
So when we were doing Chess, because it was a really tough show.
Yeah.
And the music was brutal. And you and I had the hardest things to sing in the show.
Our entire arc was just scream yelling at each other.
Scream yelling at each other. The highest notes
screaming.
that those motherfuckers from ABBA decided to write for us. And we had a great time. That's where your child was conceived, I think.
No,
right?
They were already born.
They were already born? Okay.
Yeah. Because I had them big old nursing boobies.
That's right. Same.
Yeah.
So
it was weird.
Yes,
we were both backstage.
By the way,
we were both backstage pumping. It was really weird.
It was odd. And then
that's the twist to the story.
And we shared a dressing room too.
You gave birth to one of my other twins. That's that twin is yours, and you somehow gave birth to it.
We are defying all.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Why did you invite me here?
I'm starting to wonder. Okay, so yeah, we did that show together, and it was a ton of fun. And hopefully, we can do that again or another one similar.
It's like a concert version all day.
That was great. That was I don't know. We learned a lot about each other. We learned about. I had you sing that song at 8 a.m. on TV.
Yes, but you had to sing "Pity the Child," so pity the Nathan. That was way worse.
Pity
for
the
you.
Singer is
pity
what they call
singer.
that song. Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to like when you decide to do a show, because I know when you're in the community theater world, at least, like it's just I want to do show. Nowadays, I think we're a bit pickier with the stuff we want to do.
I feel like when you're doing, well, first of all, when you're younger, I feel like as you get older, it does get just more exhausting staying out past 10 p.m. if we're being honest.
Right.
But I think when you're in the shows, when you're doing show after show after show, it becomes easy to just keep doing it because everybody else is doing it. So they're like, oh, are you going to audition for the next one? Oh, let's all audition together. And then kind of once you break free from that, it becomes harder to go back because you're like, oh, I'm at home at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Like I've done Rodgers and Hammerstein shows where Act 1 ends and it's 9:45.
Awful.
And I'm like, oh my God, I still got another hour of this clam bake and I don't want to fucking do this.
Not the clam bake.
Not the good old clam bake.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
God, I would rather not. But it was a great show to sing and I enjoyed it for that
Rodgers
reason.
and Hammerstein might be my favorite composers.
Really?
I love their musicals. Plus, for a good old alto like me, that's all that music sits nice and heavy in my chest.
I know Taryn is the opposite of you. She actually hates Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
She likes Rodgers and Hart.
Yeah.
But not Rodgers and Hammerstein, which I mean I can understand.
Yeah.
If you're not, I mean she was also raised in like with family members that enjoyed classic musicals and things too. But like when I got into musical theater, it was those shows because I loved to sing. Mm-hmm. So I would love to sing.
They'll give you a a song to just belt your face
Oh
off
my
on.
God, I know.
Just singing to the rafters. Did the days of Ethel Merman.
And, when I first started in performing kind of professionally when I was in my early teens, my mom worked for a company where she would do hair at different assisted living facilities. And when she was there, she would notice that, like, their entertainers were not great. And she would tell her boss, like, hey, my son, he's young, he sings, and he plays piano, and he does whatever he wants. So why don't we bring him in and let him sing for the old folks?
There's nothing like singing at a nursing home.
There's not. And that's where I
love
learned to, like, appreciate the classic songs, because even still to this day, like, I was out last weekend on a dinner cruise, and every single song that came on, because they were catering to the old folk audience, I knew every word. I knew every word of it because I grew up on those songs, because I was like, I got to sing what appeals to the people, my audience, my 90-year-old plus audience. But that taught me how to be a better performer, I think.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Because they will love everything that you do. Or they won't.
They're just so happy that you're there and you're youthful.
When it comes to performing for old folks, you will either get, oh my God, I loved you, or ugh. Like, I've literally had a lady go, hated it, and then walked away.
It was me. It was me dressed up as an old woman.
That sounds like something you would do to me. Hated it. There was a funny story, actually. We were doing a group of us. I don't think you were in this one. It was like 5 of us, and we performed in an assisted living facility near where we live. And one of our friends, his name is Jason, sang New York, New York. But he sang because we had a technical issue, and the tracks all died because we were doing it with, like, canned background music. And the tracks died. And so I said, Jason, just run out there real quick and sing New York, New York. And this man is one of my favorite singers on this planet. And he has such a great booming bass voice. He played Javert in Les Mis. And he went out to go sing New York, New York. And I asked him to do it randomly. And he didn't quite know all the lyrics. And he messed them up. But he was singing a cappella, and he made it work. He sang this big booming note at the end. But some lady came up to him after the show, and he remembers this to this day. This was probably 2015. He remembers this. He comes up to me. He's like, a lady came up to me and said, you ruined my favorite song. And my night is like, you ruined my night.
That woman is a queen. And she's amazing.
I mean, she's probably dead now, which is fine.
Well,
but like, they will be brutally honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, and you know this. I'm a big guy. If you guys didn't notice, the name of the show is the BurlyNathan Show, and I'm not named BurlyNathan because I'm a twig of a human. I'm a large polar bear style man. And so when you do shows for elderly folks who are, and honestly not even just elderly folks, people of all ages who just feel like they can say whatever they want to you, I've had the most vicious things said to me after shows. I've had people like hit my belly and be like, is that all you in there? I had one lady was like, you look a lot smaller than you do on stage. I'm like, Jesus, okay.
I had someone after a concert ask me when I was due, and I said 9 months ago, because like Margaret was almost a year old, and she was like, oh. She just looked at my stomach, looked at my face, and walked away. And I was like, you know what? Stand by your statements, I guess. Good for you.
Yeah, people just, but in this business, and I've learned this, I became desensitized to it like 7 or 8 years ago. I'm like, it's gonna happen, especially in this business where it's all like vanity and they expect a certain body type to see on stage. And that's why I love burlesque, because we have so many different body types that are embraced in this art form. And theater is starting to become it's a slow climb, but more inclusive as we go. Like, there are shows on Broadway that are employing plus size performers to play roles that maybe are typically played by a smaller person. Folks of color playing roles that are typically for white people. Embracing and letting trans folks play whatever parts they want, which they should. If you're talented,
it's almost like it's all make-believe. And anybody can play whatever they want.
And that's why I get so mad. That's why I get so upset when people get bent out of shape because, this type of person is playing this role. Well, it was this.
Should we hearken back to the days of Shakespeare?
Yeah.
When all the men were played by women? Like,
right.
Come on now. It's make-believe, friends.
Or the women were all played by men.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, you don't know. You don't know their truth. Did you just assume their gender?
Oy vey. But I don't know. It's in this business, you never know what people are going to say to you, and it's fine. They're not everybody's going to love you. And that's a question that I have for you.
I disagree. Everyone loves me.
Now, that's a good segue. Let's just say, for example, you were hosting one of our shows, and it was a great night. Everything went amazingly. and somebody comes up to you and says, I didn't like you, would that impact you that one person said that?
I would
when
ask
the rest
them,
of the room went nuts.
I would ask them why.
Okay.
I would want to know why.
Yeah.
Like, why? I'm always of the mindset of like, okay, well, how can I improve then? I'm sure it would be bullshit if we're being honest, but no, I'm just kidding. But I would want to know why. Did I maybe say something? Because that's the thing. I feel like not that people are too. I'm not saying people are too sensitive, but I think that now it does seem that people are quicker to hurt lately. Like it's very easy to say something off the cuff, offhand that you're not thinking about that is going to just really impact someone and offend them. So that's why I'm always trying to learn. Like I make sure before I do a show, I walk up to every performer and I say, check your bio. Is it okay? Are you okay if I say lady? Are you okay? You know, do you prefer they, them? Because it is, you know, I feel I am always trying to make sure that I'm including everyone and making everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think that's would be my biggest question is like, why didn't you like it?
Yeah.
Did I do something to offend you? And
Because
if they're
you're the
like,
kind of
no,
person
I
that
just
would
thought you
fix
weren't
it.
funny, I would say, well, fuck you then. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Oh, did that offend you? No, just kidding.
Well, I thought this was America.
Ooh.
Say whatever I want. And that's also another thing that I love about your hosting style is people know what they're in for a minute and a half into your opening monologue.
Yeah, there's no secrets about me. I am loud and proud, as they say.
Which is why the moment when you pop out now, people go ape shit. When we did our night of classic burlesque.
Stop it. That's still like my favorite. You couldn't even hear your line.
I know.
It's still my favorite moment.
I
I was so excited.
It was great.
We should have.
In the circus? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a clerical mistake on my end. I should have never hosted it because I had a million things to do, and you should have done it anyway. But Poppy,
Taryn is dead staring him right now.
that's why you are 100% the host of everything going forward. When we were planning the show, we said you were going to be my sidekick and obviously help me out when I couldn't do it. So I went out, I was introduced, there was applause, and then when I was giving a line, and you popped out, and the audience went doubly as nuts, which is great.
It's really exciting because I still don't expect it.
Yeah.
I still am like, nobody knows who the fuck I am. Like, nobody cares. But, like, I think I even was like, hey, who came to see me tonight? Like, as a joke, because that was kind of our whole shtick, because I was like, everyone's here to see me. And
they were.
So many people were like, yeah, we came to see you. And I was like, what? Why?
And I think
but
at that
why?
point, we made that decision right after that song. We're like, just go ahead and host the fucking thing.
Yeah, you were like, I actually don't really want to do this. I'm too stressed right now.
I'd rather just sit
and
behind
I was
the piano.
Like, cool, I just sang a whole song about how I was your sidekick. But sure, I'll take over.
Yeah. They knew
for the next
at that
14
moment,
and a
like,
half hours.
We'll talk about that in a future show. And if you are listening and you were a part of that cast, I'm sorry, but I also paid you extra for it, so shut the fuck up.
Listen,
anyway.
That's another thing I will say, to stand on my BurlyNathan soapbox for a second.
Oh, boy.
You have fucked up. It's very rare, but the length of that show was long. But you always stand behind it. You own up to it. You make it worth everyone's while. Like, that's the thing. You were like, I'm going to raise everybody's base because I made you stay so long. Like, that's one thing that I've noticed, not from everyone, but that is something that I find sometimes like a little like going to different shows is people be like, well, I'm sorry, sucks to suck. Just, you know, like such long shows and there just doesn't seem to be the care. And that's why when you're like, well, don't you want to do shows with other people? I'm like, no, I want to be with you guys. Like, you've spoiled me, because doing a ND theatrical show that's the best show in the biz, man.
Well, we try.
There's your plug. There's your plug. How much do I get for that?
$20.
Nice.
So this is going to be the part of the show where I do my commercial break. We're about halfway through. And tonight, we are completely and totally sponsorless. It is a brand new show. So if you're interested in sponsoring the show, you can find me on Instagram at BurlyNathan, or you can find me on TikTok at BurlyNathan. Anywhere you want to find me, I will probably be there. If you're interested in sponsoring us and running some ads on the show, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Also want to do another plug for our guest today, the amazing Poppie Bubbles. You can find Poppie Bubbles on Instagram at, well, Poppie Bubbles. As we took this break now, right before we started, I just hear and it's Jessica's glass now being full of wine.
Yeah.
Because I said, prepare yourself for the final section of the show, because we're gonna get deep.
Ooh, how deep?
We're gonna ask
This is not going
hard hitting
that well.
questions, but just like opinions on your insecurities and everything. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do therapy.
I got none, bitch.
So tell me about the shame that you have. You have none, right?
The shame?
The shame.
None. No shame.
None.
No
Especially.
shame.
Okay, so I do have a question.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be actually kind of legitimate.
Take it seriously for once.
Yes, take it
For God's
seriously.
sake. All right.
Take one fucking thing we do in this life seriously.
I'll do
Please.
my best.
She drinks out of the cup with the
my
logo.
Iced.
Is that ice in the wine?
Well, it was a delicious gin bramble that Taryn had made me. It's a little bit of leftover gin and ice and wine. Don't fucking judge me.
Can you combine those things?
Well, let's find out.
Let's see. Taste test.
Delightful.
Okay. So I have a question for you, because this show is also a lifestyle show, and we talk about our lives and our families and things
And
that
our
we
style.
do and our style. You don't want to know my styles. So when you got into burlesque
Mm-hmm.
and you got into theater in general, but more specifically when you got into this, I know that the burlesque world is not necessarily, unfortunately, looked at in a very nice light, not being family friendly, not being, positive for women and for men who perform, like that it's a degrading thing, like you're stripping, right? So there's some unfortunate connotations to burlesque and the art of the tease and stripping in front of people. So with that comes, when you work in the business, feeling bad or feeling ashamed to be there. And I know I'm not going to necessarily talk about your personal religious life and any of that, but like going into this business, was it tough for you to agree to it?
No.
So when I said do it, you didn't have to think, how is this going to change the image that normal people will have of you? Because you're not going to hide that you're doing this.
No. And also, I think you're maybe hyping up my image a little bit. Like, I don't think I was ever someone that people were like, ooh, look at her. She's so fancy and like religious and blah, blah, blah. I think people have always been like, look at that weird fucking chick over there. What's she going to do next?
Right.
Which is the vibe that I would like to put off. But I will say, so it was an interesting conversation to have with my husband because, he's not in the burlesque world and he's come to see a couple of shows, but I need to get him to one of these Night of Classic Burlesques because I think he would be like, whoa, what the heck is this? But his deal was don't show your boobies. That's always been our deal. He's like, I don't care what you do, what you wear, get up there, do what you want, but like don't show your boobies. And I'm like,
butthole and everything else is fine.
Butthole is fine.
Okay,
full vag, absolutely.
Nice.
No
Nothing
boobies.
but vulva.
Yeah.
That's the next show.
Which is hilarious because I breastfed 4 babies, so the whole Tri-County has seen my boobies. But I never have been ashamed. I've never been, it's probably not something that I'm going to sit and discuss with my uber Catholic in-laws.
Probably not.
But
do they know that you do it?
I think so, because I post about it on my Instagram. I've
Okay.
never been shy about it.
Right.
And, I've posted like bi pride stuff, and honestly, I feel like they probably don't really know what it means.
They're just like, that's a really colorful flag.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're like,
God bless America.
Look at those pink and purple and blue fingers.
What country
What's
is that?
happening
Is
there?
that, is that
love
Slovenia?
It. Beautiful. Look at her pink and blue nails. Like, I feel like my kind of like bi coming out was when I posted all of that when we did our piano night at Cocktail.
I was just thinking of that. Yep.
And I wore a bi pride shirt and I did my nails and this and that. But it's not something that I feel like I need to. I've never been the type of person where I feel like I need to make it my entire personality. I need to put it all out there. If someone wants to ask me about it, great, sure. But it's never been, I don't need to yell about it. But I'm also not going to hide it. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of the same way. And I'll get more into my personal stuff down the line in different episodes.
Oof, that'll be a journey.
Oof, yikes. So one of the episodes will include the closest people in my life to me, and we're all going to have a conversation about things together. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on to this first one too, because obviously you know a lot about me and my life, and I know a lot about you and yours. And I just wanted to get like the real perspective, because sometimes I'm worried when I ask my friends who are just theater people, hey, do you want to come sing for this show? And they're like, oh yes, absolutely, I'll sing anything you want. And I'm like, hold on. There's going to be nudity.
Let me hold on.
There's going to be nudity. It's going to be vulgar. It's going to be all of this. Are you cool with this? Because unfortunately, and this should not be a stigma, but it follows you. And I've always been worried in like my professional career that my workplace was going to find out that I host titty shows, is what they would call it.
Yeah.
My company that I work for is at
They
every
came
show.
to see our show. I was going to say they were there. Yeah.
I work for a music education company.
Right.
Like, they would support it, of course. They've had people who want to like play in the band that work with me. So like that's cool, but like going into a corporation or trying to work for a, you know, maybe a overly conservative or super religious organization, they look into my history and go, "Oh, we see that you've done this."
It's so stupid. I don't get it. Why can't I be a Catholic mother of 4 who hosts burlesque shows?
Right.
Like, I don't get it. Why not?
Other people have done worse.
Yeah.
And have been Catholic.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But I think about that sometimes too when I am hosting, because I'm very open when I host about like, hey, give me tips so I can support my 4 kids. And like,
yeah.
I think about sometimes are people like, what is she talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why, you know, but I'm very open about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a mom of 4. I go to mass every Sunday. Not that they don't believe me, but they're like, why are you bringing your kids into this? Or so, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird, but I'm like, why can't I be all of the things? Isn't that the gosh darn American dream?
Right. Be yourself. And that's one of the reasons why, like, when you go off and do those sorts of tangents, I love it because the audience connects with you as a
it rings
human being.
true.
Yeah, you're a human being
Yeah.
who's jumping up on stage in whatever the hell you want to wear and saying whatever the hell you want to say.
Hell yeah.
And like, why not? And I've always wondered, like, if somebody came up to me and said, I would hire you except you did this, I'd be
Well,
like,
you don't wanna
well, I
work
don't
with
want to
them.
work with you anyway.
No.
And my family has seen me do one burlesque show. My blood family. It was a very unfortunate show that they had to see. It was a very badly put together show. The performers were nice, but it was an absolute mess. And I remember afterwards, my parents were like, that was something. Now, my parents
You looked like you were having fun up there.
But my dad immediately was like destroying a couple of the performers in the show. I'm not going to say who they were or what their acts were, but like it was not something that they're used to. And I'm like, I wish you would have been able to see the one we do. But they were like, you know what? If this is what you're going to do it. Have fun. If you're successful and you're enjoying yourself and you're not hurting anyone.
Right.
And fine, do it. We support you. We may not want to come see all of them or any of them. I know, you know, we've experienced that with family. We experience that with family when we do G-rated theater shows.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna come see it. They don't come.
No.
They're not coming unless you give them a free ticket. But like, I want to make sure and just see, like, are you comfortable with how it turned out for you? And if somebody was to confront you on it, would you defend it or would you be like, eh?
We actually were just talking about this off mic, as they say, about how when you hit your 30s, you just reach this awesome place of like degaffery where you just don't give a fuck. I am who I am. And if someone is not going to hire me or because I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I have a job. I own a business that involves like young children. And if there was ever a school or something that was like, no, I don't want you in this business or whatever, I'd be like, okay, all right.
You say the same thing to them that you did to the person who said they didn't like you. Why?
Right? Yeah. Why?
Like, why does this bother you that I do this? It's not hurting anyone.
I feel like so many things, like so many hurts and insults and conflict just come down to someone taking a step back and like reevaluating, why do you feel that way? Why?
Right.
Why are you upset that this person is gay?
Right.
Why are you upset that, you know, this person is Muslim and you're cat? Like, why?
A lot of it is conditioning and upbringing.
Oh, 100%. But I think that I have that. I consider it like a very good part of my character that I'm able to step back and be like, ooh, I have an issue with this. What is my issue with this? Unless the person literally comes up and they're like, you're an ugly fucking bitch. And then I'm like, oh, well, I take issue with that. Yeah. But like a lot of times.
But at least you know how that's what they truly feel.
Like, all right, well, I mean, I've looked better, but.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
But like taking a second to think about why you're feeling that way. Why did this upset you? Why do you have a problem with burlesque? Why? Because those people are up there with so much confidence, shaking their titties and booties and having a blast and making money. I bet you wish you could do it too, boo-boo.
Right. And I don't think that, I mean, hopefully people who come to the show are not offended by burlesque because it's in the title.
I was going to say they would have to really not know what the fuck they signed up for. But
remember that show we did? So we did a show a while back I'm not going to say the venue. I'm not going to say the name of the show. But it was, let's just say it was very clear what the show was. And right at the very end of the night, a lady comes up to me. And this was, mind you, like right as COVID was lightening up. And she starts poking me in the chest and saying, I was deceived. I'm seeing pornography on the stage and these whores and these sluts. And she's
It was
screaming
like one of the tamer burlesques that we've done,
It
too.
was.
Like, it really wasn't.
There
it was
was
more
one-
like themed acts.
Yeah,
like
it was.
they were,
I think there was maybe one striptease in the show.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was all a plot. And I was like, what are you talking about, lady? And that was the first person I ever ejected from a venue. Now, I didn't do it by force, obviously. I said, get the fuck out of here before I take you out myself, is literally what I said. It was, I will never tolerate that sort of stuff. And, like, whenever I MC shows, I always tell the people who I'm working with, like, if somebody tries to do something stupid, even though I'm on the mic, I will pick them up over my shoulder and take them out for you. Because I'll get, like, weird dad strength. I'll get like weird adrenaline where I could pick up the fucking whole stage and just yeet it. But I've never had that before because...
Coming in September, Night of Classic Burlesque Volume 7, where Nathan yeets the stage.
Somebody's going to come after you. I'm going to chuck the baby grand at them.
I think it's funny because I think people are more scared of me than they are of you.
Oh, for sure. I am more scared of you than I am of me. There is, yeah.
For the record, audience, I am 5 feet tall and an undisclosed amount of weight. I'm a very tiny human.
They were probably scared of you verbally and like in the flesh.
I'll fuck you up.
I will destroy them behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like if I will
Karen them to death.
I had to Karen a veterinary office a couple days ago.
They deserved it.
It was for an absolute reason. But anyway, like, yeah, if they come after you, I will destroy their reputation from underneath them.
Take that.
I have a podcast and they don't. So all 14 of you who are listening will be on my side.
Watch out.
All right. So before I forget, before we wrap up, because we're getting kind of close, on the first episode ever, I think that was a pretty good conversation.
I think so.
It was pretty nice and
yeah.
deep.
It's like we've talked before.
It's like we've
hung out once or twice.
Pre-planned a few. No, we didn't. We actually didn't prep a thing for this.
No,
because we know each other so well. We're like we could
sat
just
down
go.
and we said let's start talking and see let's see what happens.
That's why I gave you 2 days notice for this.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you doing Wednesday? And you're like, I guess I'm coming to your house.
Nothing.
So if people want to follow you, if they want to tip you, how can they do
that? So I am on Instagram at POPPIE BUBBLES, POPPIE Bubbles. Same on Venmo. I think that's my handle everywhere.
And that's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
When that handle that's you created is now imprinted upon your soul, on your phone.
Good old Poppy B.
I get so many emails like, hey, BurlyNathan. It's in like the subject line.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this what I've become now? And what's funny is in burlesque, and we have a few performers that are like this, they have these creative stage names where it doesn't quite work as like first name, last name, because you'll have like a describing word and the actual person's name. So like somebody at one of my last shows was like, hey, Burly. I'm like,
nope.
It's not a first name, last name situation here. It's you call me Nathan. It's just interesting when you create that persona, when you hear people start to call you that persona. Even though it's my name, the fact that they say the whole thing still freaks me out a little bit. And I won't always respond right away because I'm like, oh, shit, that's right. They're talking to me because I'm so used to people calling me just my first name. How long did it take for you to start responding to Poppy, or was it immediate?
Well, I think it's actually really fun when you call me Jessica on stage.
I'm so sorry. Yes, and you've literally said that before on stage.
I'm like, Nathan, people are gonna cyber stalk me. Stop telling people my real name.
Well, we literally just did it for an hour, so it's
I know.
fine.
Well, now people are gonna know. That's it. My life is over. Paparazzi everywhere.
Yeah, but it's just cool to see a persona grow, and I know there's been people that have reached out to you and that have followed you that are all over the place in burlesque, and they all know you now, which is really cool. So if you want to hire Poppie Bubbles here to host your show, I suggest you do it because I think it would be great for you. I know you say you love to do our shows, but it'd be great for you to be exposed to doing them in other places.
It is a big step, though. It's
and not having our safety net of a band.
I do. You guys are like my little pacifier. Like BurlyNathan and Taryn are my pacifiers. You keep me. It's little baby Poppie Bubbles. I started with you guys. I've hosted one show. I'm about to be in another at Aspirations Winery on February 10th. Tickets at strawberry.ndtheatricals.com.
You memorized the domain.
Of course I did. It was so difficult. I don't know how I remembered it, but I'll be in that. So I am starting to take little tiptoe steps, but it's like you guys have watched me grow up basically from little baby Poppie to host of. But that's the other thing too. I'm batting 1,000 right now at sold out gigs.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna go
I'm
host like some of us have a venue that has like 12 people.
Like,
you're gonna
hey,
have to
guys.
kill 3 minutes of time in between.
I
Every
have
act.
done that.
Yeah, you have.
I have done that. I was in a show where I had to kill. I think it was like 10 minutes.
Jesus.
So I started telling
10 minutes.
So I started telling one-liners. I just literally pulled up my phone and I started telling one-liners, and the audience fucking loved it. Like, we had a blast.
So we do this thing in our night of classic.
That's where it came from.
Called the joke around.
Yeah, it's my favorite part.
And we take like 5 minutes of the show and tell a bunch of like one-liners, dad jokes, that sort of thing, and it kills every time. And it's like the most requested thing.
Yes.
From anybody. You're like, oh, we came for a night of classic burlesque, but we know there's going to be
really here for the joke around.
These joke around lines. Ugh.
It's because, once again, I'm going to harken back to everyone is just having so much fun.
Yeah.
The joy is just like radiant on stage, and everybody sees it.
Yeah. You know,
that'll make or break it.
You know how like when Disney was being built, Walt Disney went on and created a TV show just to talk about the show that he built? Kind of feels like that's what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
Like this great, amazing show that you've got to go see.
April 13th and 14th.
April 13th and 14th.
Tickets at ndtheatricals.com.
Wow.
Are they available yet?
They are, actually.
All right, bitches, get your tickets. They sell out.
April 13th and 14th. Oh, by the way, I need to tell you this, too. This will be our first Friday the 13th show.
Oh, shit.
So it's going to fucking flop. Can't wait.
It's going to flop. Great. Way to put that on the podcast.
I'm just going to hire a different MC that night.
You might want to. I'll be dead.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll be murdered by...
Watch it be like the most technically flawless production we've ever had. But then the Saturday, a complete flop.
That's usually how it works.
It will be great.
Stop willing it into existence. Joy.
Yes.
Joy.
We will do joy. You know what we should do for maybe an episode of this? I run a recording mic to our mics during the show.
That would be fun.
Because we say shit to each other. And actually, one of the things I'm working on is getting you an in-ear monitor and another mic for me so I can talk to you directly if I need you to like kill time.
That would
and
be
just
so
record
bad.
just what we say to each other that way. Like when you listen to truckers or pilots talk to each other behind the scenes.
People would be convinced that we hate each other.
Yeah.
Be like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Can you not
Can
be such
you
a mean
stop
ass?
sucking right now?
Yeah. No,
You're so bad when it comes to this stuff.
know.
God bless it.
I know.
Your banter is my favorite. I'll like be bantering and you're like, and I'm like, okay.
Because
I've
typically when I'm bantering, it's after I've just played like 4 songs in a row.
My brain is
mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, man. Okay, so my final question I'll say is like when you're wrapping up a show and you know it's going well, like how do you feel when it's done? Do you feel overjoyed? Do you feel exhausted?
So
like what is it?
I get the worst adrenaline headaches.
Yep.
The worst. So I will leave that stage. I'll go up to the elated, so happy. I'll go up to the dressing room and I'll be like, and I'm dying. And then we get to Applebee's and I drink vats of water and our giant mugs of beer.
Sippy cups.
Our sippy cups of beer that are the size of my entire face. And those chicken, shout out to Evan and the chicken wonton tacos.
Oh yeah, they're always out.
Babe.
Or they're about to be out.
They're always out of those chicken wonton tacos.
You know what's funny? People who are listening to our show who were theater kids back in the day, they make that meme where it's like, you just had the best 7th grade performance of Grease, and now you're going to go to Steak and Shake, and you're going to order food, and you're
That's
all
us at
scream,
Crapplebee's.
and you're going to be singing songs on the tables at like Denny's at 2. That's us, but we're in our 30s and 40s.
That is us at...
having BOGO apps.
Yeah.
And just talking about how great we are.
Yep.
And talking about what happened 45 minutes prior to our dinner.
Yeah.
Recalling every great thing that happened to us. We are just overgrown theater nerds.
Of course.
That now get a kind of tiny bit of money doing it.
Hey, man. I get to say I'm a paid professional.
That is true. And you make double what most MCs make.
Bada bing, baby. I know that's another reason I don't want to go. FYI, anyone that wants to hire me, my base is real high.
And hey, and this is also a great note, I will say. Something maybe I'll take. We'll do like a word of wisdom at the end of every show.
Oh.
If you are a producer of any sort of show, musical, theater, burlesque, whatever, you pay the fucking minimums. You have to, because this business is tough and undercutting is running rampant. So if you are going to do a show with a lot of people, or you're going to do a show with high notable MCs and performers, you better pay them, bitch. And you need to pay them what the industry rate is. And I'm not going to say it now because the show might get old.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say just always check what the industry standard is. Ask different burlesque performers or theater performers, whatever, who are big in that area. What do you make on a gig? And what do you do? And then at least price comparison. So make sure you're not getting undercut.
Yeah.
Make sure you check that shit out.
Know your worth, baby.
Know your worth. All right. Poppie Bubbles, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun.
It was.
I'll have you back in like 30 episodes, and it'll be like a little reunion thing.
Delightful.
30. Yeah, I'm going to get to 30. Man, and with your support, we might make it further. The way that you can support this podcast is by following it everywhere. Right now, we are on, here we go. Ready for this list? Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Alexa, Amazon Radio. So if I said, Alexa, play the BurlyNathan Show, she'll turn on.
She's listening.
Hold
She's
on.
always listening.
Hold on. Let me actually go up to it real quick and see what will happen
Which,
if I ask
for the
it.
record, we didn't tell the Alexa murderer story. You're going to have to save that for another podcast.
Okay, let's see. Alexa, play the BurlyNathan Show.
What are you doing? He's left the room.
Oh, it's there. It actually is playing my teaser. Alexa, off.
Alexa, shut up.
It started playing the teaser for the show. That's fun. Wow, so I can haunt the house.
I love how you tease this long list and you've named 3.
Taryn, ladies and gentlemen.
Taryn, you'll hear from her down. She's the executive producer who isn't the
51%,
executive
baby.
producer. Anyway, you'll hear from Taryn down the line. So yeah, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, apparently
Amazon.
on Amazon.
Yeah.
We're on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. So we're getting there. TuneIn is an actual thing. It still is. Oh, and Podbean. If you want to listen to us on Podbean, you absolutely can do that. All right. So thank you for being here, Poppie. I appreciate
Thanks for having
it.
me. I was very happy to be here. I
Make
love
sure
you.
to I love you. I love you so much. Make sure to subscribe to the BurlyNathan podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Follow us. Make sure to leave a review, what you think of the show, if you loved it, if you didn't love it. At least give us 5 stars.
And tell
but
us
then
why.
Rip us to shreds.
But make sure you tell us why.
Tell us why you hated it.
Yes.
But that would actually be a cool thing. Like, if you're going to write a bad review.
You should say why.
Still write a bad review, but still give it 5 stars. So your bad review comes to the top, because the 5-star reviews are always the ones at the top. So just write, this was the shittiest podcast I've ever heard of, and this guy's a complete dick, but do it 5 stars. So that's the first thing people see when they click onto it.
I like that reverse
Isn't that
psychology
great
there.
reverse marketing logic?
Yeah.
I just came up with that. Jesus, man,
You're
I
a
should be in
fucking
marketing.
genius.
I should do marketing for an actual living. Follow me at BurlyNathan on Instagram and on TikTok. You can see all my dumb shit. I have a very viral TikTok that went out a while ago, and it's the stupidest thing. I say viral because MTV's Ridiculousness bought the video from me and showed
That's
it on their show.
amazing.
It's a fucking viral video. It's got 1.7 million views, and it's
Is it the no parking?
It's me singing
Yeah.
no parking signs in Gainesville, Florida, because I'm a complete and total garbage dump of a human. All right, so thank you.
The best ones are.
The best ones are. All right, Poppie, I love you very much.
I
Follow
love
us
you.
everywhere. This is the BurlyNathan Show right here on wherever you're listening to this podcast.
1 of 5.
One of
5 places.
Here she is to humble me right at the
Long
very
list.
end. Good night. As it being our very first episode, we wanted to just say thank you, and here is some behind-the-scenes bonus content from when we were prepping before the show started. Enjoy. I'm going to record for a minute, and we can just talk, just to see what our balance is together,
Fantastic.
just to make sure that we're not talking
I
over
love that
each
it just becomes awkward really quick.
It sure does. We're just like, what are we going to say?
What
And
do
then
we talk about?
this is the audio test. I probably should make this like bonus at the end.
Yeah.
Like, this is us testing things
This is
before we did it.
our audio testicles.
Audio testicles. All right. I think that was probably fine.